I think that's probably whilst we are, very much focused on the sort of the climate change and the carbon agenda and so on, the whole issue of living standards and how the behaviour is perhaps maybe even a bigger risk and easier to be forgotten. If you cram so many people in 16 houses per acre, then all the social problems and which leads on a little bit to what we've often talked about, sort of social engineering or ways of involving the community in your project. And I think in my space has perhaps got either some experience or certainly an interest in developing that whole area of the business.
I mean, it sounds a bit dodgy when you say social engineering, but it's not. We're involved in a number of sort of sustainable schemes at the moment. I'll run through a couple with you. We're working on quite a large scheme in Barry in South Wales called Jackson's Quay for Newydd Housing Association. That's being built to Code 3 and BREEAM Excellent standards. It's 70 flats, 20 houses in the region on the waterfront. Fantastic development. I mean, genuinely, I'd love to live there. We're working also on the first Code 5 homes in Wales. Now, these are rural Z homes. This is quite interesting in as much as it's been rejected at planning twice. The locals don't want these, in my opinion, very conservative looking houses in the midst of their 1930s council housing estate. It's an old patch of land that a church used to stand on many moons ago. It's just sitting there derelict at the moment. Newydd want to build basically a pilot scheme, the first Code 5 scheme in Wales. And it was rejected 14-1 against at planning twice. It's gone to appeal, and my understanding is that it probably or potentially will get through planning, because I think the Welsh Assembly government are quite keen that they actually stop talking about it and start walking it and produce some Code 5 housing. So that's fantastic. So that's what's happening in Wales with MySpace at the moment. We're looking at a number of schemes, probably the most significant of which is a scheme in Wellington, in Somerset, which is Code 4. It's 32 sheltered apartments, basically a block of flats, designed by an architectural practice called Boon & Brown. Very good at what they do, great outfit to work with. We're very keen and excited to start the job. We haven't started yet because we're waiting for a couple of existing residents sitting on the bungalows which are due to be demolished to move, and have been waiting for some time, I might add. With regards what you were talking about, the social engineering, I'm uncomfortable every time I say that word.
I think of a new term for that.
We are working with Wesley Housing Association on a regeneration project. I think it's probably the best way to put it, which probably is the hub of this conversation, really. What we are trying to do with Wesley is regenerate a problem estate just outside Swindon, which has a antisocial behaviour problem. There's a bit of a drug problem there. It's a pretty down at heel area and considered, what I was talking about earlier, as to be a little bit of a ghetto. And the idea is that we do a retrofit program to the 220 properties that Wesley own, and there's probably another 400 properties there which are privately owned, and we will extend the retrofit to the private individuals if they want it, and they will be getting it at an extremely good price, as you can imagine, because it's volume. But the idea is we stick PV arrays on the relevant roofs, which is good for all the reasons we've outlined earlier. It lowers the CO2 footprint. It reduces fuel poverty in the community, both of which are good. Secondly, we're going to train local youths as solar installers. So they're going to get all the training that everyone in Midas groups gets with regards first aid, health and safety. They will get a job, they will get a van, they will get clothing, and they will go out into the communities that perhaps they once terrorised and actually do something positive, which is go up on the roof and fit photovoltaics, which are going to help Mrs. Miggins, live her life more sustainably. The feed-in tariffs, and this is where it starts getting quite exciting, if they are set at the levels where they think that they are going to be set at, all of a sudden make this a viable business proposition. Clearly, Midas Group, MySpace, we're not doing it for the love. We are doing it to make a profit, and I hasten to add a decent profit, but we're trying to do it in a decent way. We think we've got there. Literally, we're running through the numbers at the moment. The regeneration team at Wesley Housing Association are extremely excited about it. We're probably going to run a pilot project first, see how the community takes to it. But if it works, then this is hopefully what you will see up and down the country. And it's not just PV, it's obviously insulation in the roof, it's putting in new cycle tracks, it's uplifting the whole, it's looking at the green spaces in particular and trying to do something more inventive and interesting with those, and obviously involving the entire community in the consultation process and saying, well, you live here, what do you want? And I hasten to add, this isn't really consultation the way sometimes government does it, which is, we've made our mind up, we're going to come out, talk to you about what you want, then completely ignore you and go away what we're going to do anyway. Housing associations and contractors like us genuinely want to know what it is a community wants. We'll try and do it. If it works, we'll make some money out of it. Housing association will make some money out of it. Crime will go down. Fuel poverty will go down. Locals start getting jobs, employment. Hopefully it's not a vicious circle, it's a whatever the opposite of vicious is. It's a benevolent circle.
Yeah, and a spiral, it sort of, which gains momentum, spiral upwards.
I think so. I mean, considering where we are as a nation financially, where we are as a nation in terms of unemployment, this to me is it's just logic. I can build one house for £100,000, let's say, and employ 20 people on it. Give me that same £100,000 and ask me to adjust the retrofit agenda, and I can employ 50 people. I can do 50 homes and stick PV or insulation in. And all of a sudden we've got more people off the dole in employment, more people paying tax. Our CO2 footprint's going down as a nation. We're tackling that thorny issue, which is the 98% of housing that is actually producing the carbon footprint of the UK. And to me anyway, it seems logical, and I hope that that's what's going to happen.